How's it going, everybody? Happy Thursday. Welcome to another live stream. We're talking some more money for drivers, some potentially big money. So I want to welcome you guys to another live stream. Your driver Mike here, coming to you live this evening from San Diego, California. Well, hey, if you haven't heard the news in the rideshare space, we have some companies going public. As you may know, Lyft, of course, went public recently. They're listed on the stock exchange. You can own shares in Lyft now. And as part of these companies going live, they're offering incentives to you as a driver. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I have you guys loaded up here in the comments. So I appreciate you joining. Raja, thanks for being here. I'm going to talk about, okay, how much cash are these companies going to give you as a driver? What are the caveats? And if this sounds familiar, yes, Lyft did this first. Lyft, of course, is already live, and they had their incentives to drivers. We're going to talk about, well, hey, Uber is doing the same thing. How much are they going to give you as a driver? So let's just jump right into it. I appreciate you guys joining. Let me know where you're watching from right now in the live chat. So let me show you something. Let's go over the reports that is going to give us a breakdown of how much money, cash, you may be owed from Uber just for driving as part of this IPO. If you guys don't know, this is a part of Uber going live as a company. They're calling this a driver award. Okay, Lyft framed it as more of a driver appreciation. And what this is based on the amount of rides that you've given on the Uber platform. Both of these companies, right? These companies are incentivizing you, rewarding you, acknowledging you, etc., for being a driver on their platform. Dark Road Run, I see you in here. Thanks for being here. So let me show you something. This is the report that I wanted to show you guys. So we can see here, as reported by TechCrunch, there it is. Uber is dishing out appreciation awards up to $10,000. It's a lot of money, guys. That's a good amount of zeros. $10,000 to let prolific drivers buy stock. Are you a prolific Uber driver? What does that mean? Let's find out. Alex, I see you. Thanks for being here. Hey there, Mike. This is my first live visit since subbing. Appreciate you being here. So let's go into this together. If you guys aren't following across socials, we post across Facebook, Twitter as well if you always want to be in the know. Let's just go into it from the top. As Uber gears up for its highly anticipated public debut, the company is setting aside some cash money for drivers that have logged some serious rides on the platform as a reward for sticking with the service. The company follows Lyft, like we mentioned, which also rewarded drivers with a one-time cash bonus during its public offering. Of course, just within the last couple of weeks, that is Lyft. Check out the video on the channel. We did a live stream about their driver incentives. The company is setting aside a number of shares of common stock at the initial IPO price, that's initial public offering price, that drivers who earn this appreciation award will be able to purchase. Here's the numbers, guys. Drivers will get $100, $500, $1,000, or $10,000 for completing 2,500 rides, 5,000 rides, 10,000 rides, or 20,000 rides lifetime, respectively. The caveat, there's a but, the caveat being that drivers will need to have completed at least one ride in this year, 2019, as of April 7th, and be in, quote, good standing. We've reached out to Uber, they say, and about what exactly that means. I'll tell you guys what it kind of means. That just means that you have a decent rating. Usually that's what that means. Okay, as long as you have a 4.5 or higher. If you're lower, honestly, they're probably going to still give it to you, but I don't know. That's just speculation as far as what being in good standing means with Uber. Let's continue. Uber's Driver Appreciation Awards, it's interesting they're calling this an award, are pretty much identical to what Lyft did for its public offering, right? Which awarded drivers with 10,000 and 20,000 rides with $1,000 and $10,000 respectively. The difference here, guys, is that Uber is giving you more options as far as cash awards than Lyft did. Lyft, again, you have to have given 10,000 rides or 20,000 rides exclusively on the Lyft platform to qualify for those bonuses. Let's go back into this. Again, as you can see, actually they just state it right there. The key difference being Uber has some nice smaller cash bonuses. We're right here, guys. For less prolific drivers. They shouldn't say that. For less prolific drivers, it kind of makes me feel like, if you're not as epic as these other drivers, less prolific. You just didn't do as many rides, right? Uber detailed that for drivers outside of the US, pay attention if you're outside the US here, guys, the appreciation award may be adjusted on a region-by-region basis to account for differences in average hourly earnings by region. Okay, so if you're in an international market, they'll basically take the hourly norm, probably of drivers, into consideration when giving you this award. So I have some questions for you guys. Firstly, give me your first reactions. Hey, give me your first reactions if you're just finding out about this. What we're talking about today is Uber is second across the finish line as far as listing for an initial public offering that is going public as a company, that is going on the stock exchange. So now you and I, the public, can purchase shares, in essence, small pieces of ownership in the company, right? And both of these companies, Uber and Lyft, are giving you a cash bonus if you qualify for driving on their platforms. So again, as we saw here are your options. This is important. Hey, feel free to write it down. Of course, you can find these articles as well. Here are the numbers. You can get $100. This is with Uber. $500, $1,000, or $10,000 if you've completed these corresponding number of rides. $2,500, these are lifetime. $5,000, $10,000, or a massive 20,000 rides lifetime, and asterisks, you need to make sure, I hope you've done this, is to qualify you also need to have taken one ride, completed one ride in this year, 2019. So let me pass this on to you. Question for you. I think this one's pretty straightforward, but do you think these earnings incentives are better than Lyft? Moreover, do you like the numbers? Do you think they're fair? Again, if you've done 2,500 lifetime rides on Uber, you can get an extra $100. This is deposited into your Uber account. Here's another thing we haven't mentioned yet, is you can use this cash to purchase Uber stock at the IPO price. The IPO, basically that's saying, okay, once they go live in the stock market, there's an initial price that they launch at, right? That's called the IPO price. You're guaranteed to be able to purchase that stock, the Uber stock, at that IPO price. Once the stock goes live, guys, it's up to the stock market. It can go up, it can go down. Of course, there's financial risks. This is the stock market. Let's catch up with you here. Alex says, I don't want to be negative, but somehow Uber will get this money back. Nothing is free anymore. That's interesting. Hey, let me show you guys one other thing here. I wanted to show you a few articles here today, or this evening, I should say. Here's another breakdown of the numbers. Not right there, right here. Right there. Let's start right here, okay? This is reported by Mashable, and it says more than 1.1 million drivers are eligible. So share this stream, share this video, because I guarantee you not all 1.1 are going to be aware of this. So share this if you know someone that qualifies, maybe you qualify. Definitely get this stream out there. I guarantee some people are going to miss out on money. You do not want to miss out on money. You know, it's free money that Uber is going to give you. More than 1.1 million drivers are eligible for the payouts, etc. We see that, totaling a pool of $300 million. That's a good amount of money, considering that Uber reported a loss of 1.8 billion, I believe the number was, in 2018. Now, certainly there's strategy to this. They want to generate a lot of IPO, stock initial purchases of stock to generate some more revenue for the company. So, drivers in good standing, and we'll see here the number of rides again will qualify for the cash bonuses here. So, second question for you. Hey, Chocolate Slayer, thanks for being here. Alex says I'm close to 3,000, but haven't driven for close to 2 years. Let me ask you this. Alex brought up a great point here. Let me come back here to you guys. This is really interesting. Think about this. A driver like Alex, who's in the live stream, if you're watching this in the rebroadcast, check this out. A driver like Alex who's done 3,000 rides, that would qualify them for the $100. $100, I'll take it. But they haven't given a ride in 2 years. In order to qualify for the bonus, you need to have driven at least one ride, right? Completed one ride this year. Is that fair? And I need to think about that. Is that fair? Do you think a driver that has thousands of rides that, okay, hey, maybe I'm not benefiting your platform now. I'm not doing rides now in 2019, I don't know, 2018, or whatever you want to consider. But hey, I was there for you guys in 2015, 2016. I did thousands of rides. And that basically built customers, it built the customer experience. It got more immersion for the customers. They are using the platform, obviously, because you're a driver and you're available. That's really interesting. Now, remember, if we say no, now they should be driving 2019. Now they don't qualify. There's still a good over 1 million drivers that qualify. So if you go into years past and you say, okay, as long as you've driven since 2015, that 1.1 million eligible drivers is going to skyrocket. Because remember, the turnover, the last week, this was years ago, but the last data that I've heard on turnover on Uber, it's like 98%. 98% of drivers aren't driving after, I think it was 6 months or so, right? So there's a lot of drivers that have quit since 2019 that probably qualify. Interesting. And I mean, here's my first impression. Hey, let's catch up with you guys before we get into that. The Beacon of Light, thanks for being here. Beacon says, hi, Mike, I appreciate you being here. Juan, thanks for being here. Uber sucks, they are thieves, period. It's contentious. It's a contentious company. There's love, there's hate. I don't know how the middle feels, right? The indifference. Especially because these companies are going towards autonomous vehicles. That's another live stream discussion. NYC777, thanks for being here. Uber stock will go down. It is all BS. Interesting. Now, if we got into strategy for the stock market IPO, think about this. Lyft went live, what was it, this past week, right? In the stock market at $72 a share. Hey, let's look at the current stock price. Lyft stock. Let's find out what it is right now. Wow, $61. Check it out. $61. And it went live at 72. It peaked at 88. We can see it here in this chart. If you go to Google, I just simply typed in Lyft stock. You can see this, or of course using any other investing platform. Interesting. The last I looked, I just looked at this a couple days ago, it was still around 70. That's interesting. This stock has fallen, over $10. Now again, hey, let's, I'm going to do a little bit deeper of a breakdown here. Yeah, there we go. Let's see if I can zoom in. I can zoom in. Okay, let me show you guys something. Look at this. Actually, here, let me remove, there we go. Check this out. This is for the past 5 days. Look at that. And we can see here, Friday, April 5th, okay? last Friday, right? $73. And in the past week, it's just fallen all the way down to the current 61. Now, hey, remember, are you playing the short game or are you playing the long game? We're not here to get into stock market strategy. I'm certainly no expert in stock market strategy. Interesting though, if you're playing the short game, if you're looking at this as a short sell stock, that's fallen. Oh wow, that's more than $12, right? In the past 5 days. Interesting. Something to think about, that if when Uber goes live here with their IPO, what are they going to list at? If Lyft listed at $72, where's Uber going to start? Considerably the bigger company, right? Bigger market share, more revenue, more losses. Where would they start at, being the big players in the space? Higher than 72? Are they going to take a note of Lyft and go lower than 72? If they go lower than 72, that means they're undervaluing their company's per stock worth. They're valuing their company's per stock worth less than Lyft. I couldn't see them going under 72 then, because then they're saying, yeah, our stocks are worth less than Lyft. Interesting, but look at what Lyft stock is doing. Again, a lot of conversation that can be had there. Let's catch up with you guys. NYC says, just like Groupon, the stock sucked, NYC says. Guys, there's big IPOs coming this year if you didn't know. Okay, there's rumored for Airbnb. We have some great Airbnb live streams. We have another one coming up here shortly on how to succeed on Airbnb. Airbnb is rumored to go live this year. Postmates, another company that's highlighted significantly here on the channel. Postmates is rumored to go live as well. Guys, what I've heard, maybe a sleeper IPO, is Pinterest. Pinterest is rumored to have an IPO as well this year. Keep an eye on Pinterest. I, for one, I don't use Pinterest, but I've heard it described as possibly a sleeper IPO. It could do very well. Again, hey, caveat, this is not meant to be legal or financial advice. Okay, just throwing that out there. Rideshare Dan, thanks for being here from Minneapolis. So who qualified for the $10,000? If you're just joining, let me show you what we're talking about today. We're talking about this. Uber is going live soon in the stock market for an initial public offering. And if you've driven 2,500 rides, 5,000, 10,000, or 20,000 rides, and you've completed one trip at least, this year in 2019, you qualify for $100, $500, $1,000, or $10,000. You can pocket that, by the way. You can pocket that money, or you can use it. You could use it to purchase Uber stock. What would you do? Let me ask you that. So put right now in the live chat, or if you're watching this in the rebroadcast, firstly, do you qualify? Because I feel like a lot of you will qualify for this over the Lyft incentive. Well, it's too late now for the Lyft incentive, right? They already went live. But I feel for the majority of drivers, I feel like most drive Uber more than Lyft. As far as when I drove rideshare, my ratio was about 3-to-1, probably higher, doing much more Uber rides compared to Lyft because there was more demand, more passengers using the Uber platform. So, hey, there was more demand, there was typically more surge, I would take more Uber rides. So I bet more of you qualify for this incentive than our stream on Lyft. Let me know in the live chat. Let's find out. Sleeping Elephant says, I missed $500 by 300 rides. So Sleeping Elephant, that was the 5,000 trip mark. So Sleeping Elephant did 4,700 rides, missed out by 300. That's tough. And I mean, if you think about it, I agree with this article that this incentive is better than Lyft because it does give you more options, more tiers. Here's another curious thing to think about. Did Uber add more tiers because they saw some backlash from Lyft's incentive that said they didn't have enough tiers? Or did they just, were they already thinking about that? Or did they say, oh, wow, there was a little backlash that Lyft didn't reward as many drivers that had fewer rides. And actually, let's go back to that. Let me show you here. So this is Lyft's reward, okay, platform. Whenever they did their reward, you can see right here, you had to hit 20,000 rides to get $10,000, or you had to hit 10,000 rides and above to get $1,000. That was it. You had to have at least 10,000 rides. So now if we go over to Uber, you have the flexibility of 2,500 or 5,000. So let's get your feedback. I want you to look at these numbers. Again, if you're just joining, look at this right here. Okay, these are the numbers. I'll keep that highlighted for you. Catching up with you guys here in the comments. M. Silverhammer, thanks for being here as always. M. Silverhammer says, I have around 7,000 rides and deliveries and received an email that I will receive $500. Correct? M. Silverhammer having over 5,000 rides, they have 7,000 qualifies for $500. Now keep in mind, all of this income, I mean, this is an umbrella statement, guys. Any gig economy, well, I shouldn't say any, I don't want this to be, set in stone, but a gig economy app that you're not employed by the company, that's going to be a 1099 independent contractor work, right? They'll send you a 1099. You guys, if you did any gig economy work last year, you received your 1099 form to include in your taxes. And of course, hey, that deadline's coming up on Monday for tax time. So any money that you're receiving here, let's say you get the $500 like Sleeping Elephant, keep in mind you need to set aside some money for taxes because that's going to be claimed as income. But even to get 500, post-tax, whatever you end up taking home, it's going to be money that you didn't necessarily have to do any extra work for. I mean, you drove per usual, right? So let's see here. Rideshare Dan says Lyft is doing what Uber did to surge on tax day. Okay, I don't know if I follow that. Okay, very good. So I'm going to open it to questions for you guys. Or if you're watching this in the rebroadcast, what I want you to do is post down below in the comments. I'm going to come back here to you guys. Post down in the comments if you're watching this on the rebroadcast. Firstly, do you qualify? How many rides have you done? Do you like this tiered system better than the offerings from Lyft? I think you will, okay? And I'll pose one final question to you. I was thinking about this before the live stream today. Why haven't we seen more, we were not employees, more worker, right? More worker incentives from other gig economy apps? I'll repeat that question. Why aren't we, I'm going to leave you with this again. Please post in the live chat or the comments. Why haven't we seen more worker incentives from gig economy apps? Where are the incentives from DoorDash, Postmates, Amazon Flex? I mean, whatever you want to do. TaskRabbit, Caviar, Grubhub. I'm not talking about just simple earnings incentives, surge, boosts zones, per delivery bonuses. Do you think that these companies should have recognition bonuses as well? Because think about that. Okay, if I'm DoorDash and you're doing your standard delivery incentives, boost zones, right? Why does no one have in their app, hey, here's a reward system for you as a delivery driver on DoorDash. And it could be a nice feature in the app that says something simple. You do 500 deliveries or 1,000 deliveries, and you will get a DoorDash t-shirt or a DoorDash duffel. I don't know, whatever you want to make it. Now, you'll say, like, hey, well, what are you talking about? A t-shirt after 1,000 deliveries? Hear me out. There will be cash incentives. I think there should definitely be cash incentives because, yes, you're going to have a lot more people qualify for 1,000 deliveries, right? So you can't make it too much of a cash incentive. You do need to get a little bit higher. Okay, like right here, the minimum is 2,500 deliveries. I'm sorry, trips on Uber. Minimum is 2,500. Okay. Now, if this was always available, right? They're just doing this just because of the IPO. But if a reward system was always available, you'd probably have to have maybe a little bit higher standards, higher thresholds rather. So maybe 5,000. I don't know, 5,000 rides. Well, not rides, we're talking about DoorDash. 5,000 deliveries, have a cash incentive. Or 2,500, make it 2,500 deliveries, have a cash incentive. This is not completely out of the box, guys. Remember, for probably at least a year, Lyft has had a driver's reward system in part. I haven't heard that it's too robust. What they've been doing is once you hit 1,000 rides on the Lyft platform, you get a Lyft jacket. And actually, let me see if I can show you guys. I'll say Lyft driver jacket, 1,000 rides. Okay, let's check it out. Yep, there we go. So check it out. This is the 1,000 ride gift. The 1,000 ride milestone is a lifetime accomplishment for drivers. To show our thanks, we've designated a 1K Club jacket just for 1,000 ride drivers. There's eligibility. Once you've given 1,000 rides on the Lyft platform, right, you qualify for this jacket. Let's see, you can see how to order. Now, programs like this can be discontinued, right? So what I'm saying is maybe more companies should look at, let's zoom in for you, should look at reward systems like this, something, okay? Because you're driving delivery, you're driving rideshare, throw in something, show your appreciation. I understand an IPO is huge, okay? But if you want your system to work nice and smoothly and to have happy drivers, right? Just do something. Do a reward system like this, have certain thresholds, absolutely put some cash incentives in there. And what I've thought about before is do some random contests. Do some random contests. Actually, you know what, guys? They've done this before, because I remember. Back years ago, with Uber, maybe Lyft did this as well, but Uber definitely did this. I remember. I can show you the emails. There would be exactly that, what I just described. Contests for you as a driver. What they used to do is in local markets, right? I was driving in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at the time. So for all drivers in the Pittsburgh market, there would be raffles. There would be contests to win, what was it? Gift cards. I think there was a few, I think mostly it was gift cards. Stuff like that. Maybe some other prizes, I can't remember. But at the minimum, it was gift cards. It was just random contests. And the criteria was, hey, drive this weekend and be entered to win, whatever it is, okay, a gift card or what have you. So you could do something like that. I mean, again, the markets have certainly changed from those years, but get creative, guys. Think about something. I haven't seen anything from that like that from DoorDash or Postmates, at least not recently. Maybe they did something years ago. If so, let me know, guys. So let's catch up with you. I do want to make sure I can answer any questions here. The Beacon says, Mike, I have a Lyft spring jacket just like that and 3 Lyft embroidered on my jacket. 3 Lyft what? I have that and more, says the Beacon. And the beacon says Lyft meetups. I mean, something. I will tell you this, guys, before we go, is Lyft has been doing, or at least has been encouraging, driver appreciation all along, more so than Uber, in my opinion. And they've done this by trying to emphasize that their driver support centers are not only support centers, but hangouts. So I know they have some beverages. I don't know if they had food or whatnot, but they wanted to make those driver help centers more of a hangout spot, a break zone. I think that's exactly what you need to do. I think that's spot on for Lyft. Is you need to have driver hubs also be hangout centers. Specifically design those areas to have some hangout spots, not just a waiting room. The driver support center here in San Diego for Uber, there's certainly not any hangout fun spots. There's some spots that you wait in as you wait for an Uber rep, but I don't know, make it fun, do some fun stuff. I feel like Lyft has always personified, right, that fun, almost silly persona as a company. But it's not just that, it's going to take a lot more. It takes recognition programs, awards, award programs. I've been saying that for years, is reward drivers that have been driving for multiple years and with thousands of rides. It's quite simple, okay? You're not always going to have a driver that's driven for years or thousands of rides. Do something. Do something small. It's like if you bring in donuts and coffee for your team or your section in the office, it doesn't have to be huge. You're not throwing down $1,000 on everyone's desk, but you're doing something small. And when you're as large as Uber and Lyft, I mean, you got some money. I understand you're trying to turn a profit, and profit's net profit can be a struggle for these startups. But let's also invest in your drivers. And guys, I mean, invest in your drivers while you have drivers. These companies have said they want to move fully autonomous. If that's the future, these companies are going to do what they want to do, okay? And they're also going to see how the public responds. That's not an indefinite. Automated cars are not an indefinite. But both of these companies have planned for fully automated systems. We'll see how the future goes. Cross that bridge when we get there, and we'll continue to have dialogue on that. But for now, acknowledge your drivers. So guys, I don't see any other questions in the live chat. And let's see, the beacon says a ship is an option for me. I've heard of that app. And I know that someone else mentioned one other app called Driver, Beacon. That was Beacon as well. So hey, we'll see where the future goes. A new entrance to the market, if someone's doing it bigger and better or just has a better business model, we'll see. So let me know your thoughts on this incentive program from Uber. Make sure to consider the questions we presented throughout this live stream, guys. I appreciate you being here. If you have any other final questions, post that down below in the comments. I try to answer every single question. And hey, before you go, you made it this far. Can you do one more thing for me? Take a little time out. Can you please leave a like on this live stream? It takes 1 second just on your way out. It shows me that you get value in these live streams, in the videos here on the channel, on the content on the channel. Gets more people in here, more eyes on the channel, and more people on the Your Driver Mike team. And of course, hey, since we're here on YouTube, it boosts us in YouTube's almighty algorithm, which means a lot, guys. Can you please leave a like if you haven't done so already? Guys, I appreciate you being here. And hey, I will see you in the next one.